This past Saturday, North Central held the Thunder offense to 56 total yards in the second half, helping the Cardinals to a 27-7 win over Wheaton College. We got reactions from the game in this week's What's the Word?
Well, actually, I didn't know I was going to play that much. We only had a Wildcat formation twice in our 20-play script, so, I don't know how many plays we had throughout the game, but, 2 every 20 plays isn't that many. But, and I'm glad I got the chance to do that and show what I can do.
We've been trying to plug him in, trying to find what he can do for us, and we know he's an explosive athlete, and, we threw Wildcat in this week, and, unfortunately it worked out.
You know people have it, or some people have it, so you do have an idea that's going to happen. You just don't know how much it's going to happen, and you knew they were going to bring something out on us that you hadn't seen before.
We're the ones that have to get each game going, and it's the same for the D-line too. It's the lines up front that are going to win the games, and we understand that, and we like that task. And we stayed together, and we play well together, so that's a big part.
They brought the 2 tight ends in the game, and those are great players. They put the 2 tight ends in the game with their running back. They're going to run the football. You know what I mean? And once they figure that out, then one of the only ways you stop that thing, you bring so many guys in to stop the run, and you get hung up in man-to-man, and they knew it. You either die quickly or you die slowly.
We did circle this game on our schedule, and we thought it was going to be a big game, and it was. We knew we could go right at them. Our run game was doing pretty well in the first half there, and we wanted to go straight at them. And in the second half, they started bringing a little more pressure, started blitzing a little more, and they got into us, and the story goes from there.
Well, we wanted to bring some pressure, and there was a lot of stress on those guys. They had to man up all game long when we wanted to bring it, and they did a great job and let us hit home on the quarterback.
It's really about discipline. We know what we got to do this year, and we're getting it done, basically, in and out. We lost that first game of the season, and, I wouldn't say it was a fluke because we didn't play well. We really didn't. But ever since then, nonstop scoring points. We only put up 27 this week, but that was against the number 3 team in the country. So what do you expect? We got the win, and that's all that matters, really.
Senior defensive end Tim Janecek was a first-team All-CCIW selection last year, and this season ranks 3rd on the team with 24 tackles. Tim, thanks for joining us.
No problem.
Tim, big victory for you guys on Saturday over Wheaton College. And the one thing that was pretty evident with the defensive line is there was a lot of rotation, a lot of different faces getting in there. Robert Champion, Willie Landingham, James Robinson, Peter Bulander, Chris Stanton, all those guys rotating in with you on the defensive line, keeping guys fresh. Do you feel like it was very successful in that game, helping to keep people fresh?
Definitely. The more fresh you are in the fourth quarter, 3rd and 4th quarter, you're going to be able to come off the ball a lot faster and just get to the quarterback or stop the run. Your legs are going to be fresh. You're not going to be tired. And all of them, everybody you mentioned, is just stepping up great for us this year, especially with Champ being injured now and Pete stepping up big as he's only a sophomore. So,
talk about the play champions. Some say he's playing without an ACL right now. They've moved him from a nose tackle to a defensive end position. I guess kind of talk about his performance on Saturday. Is it something you guys could see on film to where he's really helping the defense?
Oh, definitely. He's one of the most disruptive players in the conference, if not the nation. And obviously he went down with that leg injury, and playing nose guard, you're going to have bodies flying all around your legs and knees. So he sat out the Carthage game and then came back this week, and it was smarter for him to go out to the 5 technique where there's not as many bodies flying around your lower parts. So.
Absolutely. Tim, it's very easy to look at a stat sheet and to say, hey, this guy had 5 sacks and he had a great game. But you talk about Champion being a very disruptive member. Can you be a disruptive member without recording 12 tackles or having 5 sacks in a game?
Definitely. If you're hitting the center or guard in the backfield consecutively on every play or every other play, if they're trying to pull somebody, he's not going to be able to get there. If they're trying to run the ball, they're not going to be able to. And then it's just the whole mindset that goes in throughout the game. If this guy is just getting pummeled the entire game, he's not gonna want to fire off the ball. And I feel that's what, as a defensive line as a whole, we did last week against Wheaton. We just wore him down as the game went on.
You're at one defensive end, and another guy who's played a lot of defensive end this year is a sophomore, Peter Bulander. Just kind of talk about his maturation process. He's turned into quite a football player the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, he is. He's just stepping up for us. Went into last offseason, we kind of had another defensive end spot open, and I sat him down and was like, it's yours for the taking. And so did Coach Winkie and Coach Thorne. And he just worked unbelievably hard this entire offseason and just really stepped up, came into camp. He's kind of rough around the edges, but now as the season wears on, he's getting more reps. He's really getting pretty good for us.
Is there anybody else on this defense or on the team as a whole that's really stepped up in your mind?
I'd have to say like Kyle Hayes, Willie Hayes, Joe Schneiderbar, they're all stepping up. I mean, obviously with Matt and Derek going down, it's a huge loss for our defense. But, I mean, the defense as a whole is just stepping up and really, like, meshing well together and just having fun playing the game.
Tim, what was going on in your mind in Ada, Ohio that first week when Wanger went down? You ended up leading the team in tackles in that game, and it seemed like every point from there on that I talked to you, you never really wanted to harp on that stuff. You always said, hey, listen, we have a good team. This is a good team. We're going to win games. You never seemed to lose your confidence about the level this team can compete at.
Obviously, with Matt going down, he was a preseason player of the year in the nation, and he's going to help us out tremendously. But he went down. You can't really harp on it because if you do, you're just not going to play well. And obviously, him going down in the first game, the defense really never bounced back from that. But we found out the terrible news that he wasn't going to be able to come back, and then we just had to put it behind us. And we know he's going to be there for us on the sideline, helping us out, and helping Willie out, helping Joe out, playing linebacker. So we just got to fight through that adversity and just keep playing. And we know we got guys that can step up for us, so just keep playing hard.
Did defensive coordinator Bill Winke or defensive line coach John Thorne approach you at that point and say, hey, listen, we need you to take over the defense?
Not really. I mean, you just kind of, as a senior and as a captain, I just kind of took it upon myself just because I don't want my senior season just going down the drain because of the huge injury. But I know we have talent on this team, and especially on the defensive side of the ball, so we just play hard and fast. That's going to get you a lot of places, especially in the CCIW.
Coach Jeff, Tim just said it right here. As a senior, you know, it's kind of a leadership role that is, I don't want to say thrust upon you, but it works itself out that way. Against Carthage, coming out of halftime, I saw Tim probably walk 80 yards down the field to make sure he tapped every single defensive member to make sure that they were pumped up and ready to go in that game. Do you see that from Tim, and how much does that affect kind of the whole makeup of the team?
It's extremely important to have guys like Tim on the defensive side of the ball. Tim's got a motor, and he plays with passion. And defensively, if you don't play hard and fast and with enthusiasm, you won't play as well as you could possibly play. And I think they're at a point right now where they understand they're playing for a lot more than themselves. They're playing for the group, for each other, for Matt, for Dom, for Derek, for all the guys that have had unfortunate injuries, and really playing with a lot of heart. And it's fun to watch. And when a guy like Tim goes and does that and makes sure that he sees every guy and looks in their eyes and makes sure they're ready to go, it does make a difference. And his leadership hasn't just been this season. His leadership started long, long ago in the weight room and in workouts. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, the Cards made a big statement on Saturday, and here's some of our plays of the week. All right, Coach, we're going to start off right here. This is Kyle Hayes' interception right before halftime.
Yeah, and that's the kid that he was assigned to, and you can see he's running stride for stride with him. Kyle can really run.
Moments later, Nick Hicks, the big reception and fan throw at 44 yards.
Yep. That's a pretty good throw, and Nick did a great job of getting leverage on that kid and getting inside of him.
And Tim, last year you guys were able to get to Sean Norris 5 times. In this game, you guys sacked him 6 times. Something about Wheaton College brings out the best in this rushing defense.
Well, I mean, it's definitely playing Wheaton. It's a big game, playing for the bell, but Coach Thorne, Winky, and Coach Foster really developed a great scheme once again this year, and we just got to him. It was a lot of fun.
Well, Tim, heading into Illinois Wesleyan, what are some of the key factors that this defense is really honing in on?
Well, we got to dominate the line of scrimmage. Obviously, they're a good team. They're big up front. Their quarterbacks, whether it's Ladd, excuse me, he can fire the ball as far as he wants down the field. And Rooney really is really mobile. He kind of reminds me of Podolka from last year at Augustana. And they're just a good offense. Got good receivers, kind of like Carthage. But if we just wear them down like we did Wheaton, we got a good chance of coming out with a victory.
You know, earlier, Zach Baldacci said on the offensive line and the defensive line, that's where the game starts and that's where the game's won. On the offensive line, obviously opening up holes for the running backs and pass protection for the quarterback. But on the defensive line, can you just kind of go into detail? How is the defensive line, or how is the game won on the defensive line?
Just, like I said earlier, being disruptive and just wearing people down. I mean, the whole line, if they're getting frustrated because they can't block you, they can't run block you, I mean, it's very devastating to a defense if somebody's getting 4 or 5 yards of pop on you every time they run the ball. But just like that for the offense. If they try to run their bread and butter play, inside zone or outside zone, and they're getting stuffed for a 2-yard loss or just a 1-yard gain, it's just going to be very frustrating, and it's just not going to be good for them.
Well, Tim, we'd like to thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for more with Coach Jeff Thorne. We'll be right back.